What's 7 minutes late today? 7 minutes, not respecting your time, your schedule. You who moved around your appointment so you could listen to the Lift the Veil show from the very beginning at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's 4:07 here, 7:07 on the East Coast. How are you guys doing today? Did you hear the hearing? I tuned in for it. Oh, we're kicking out anti-Semites. I hope you're happy about that. Trump announced. But I think he's going to try to kick out college Hamas fans who are immigrants. No, who are on visas. He's going to try to cancel visas. That's what he said. For people who are anti-Semitic, Arabs probably, on college campuses. So he likes free speech, but not that kind of free speech. He's probably going to try to get people who were criminals. That's all he can do. You can't kick people out for not liking Jews, I don't think. Because how do they know? They're going to give them a test. So that happened today. RFK, there was a hearing. Make America Healthy Again. A bunch of people showed up to it. People cheered on RFK Jr. I wouldn't say it was like a great showing, but he was met with just like lunatics, basically. I mean, the Democrats showed themselves to be really terrible people today. Really terrible. And probably to a lot of Democrats too, like Bobby. So Bobby was there. His wife was behind him. Elizabeth Warren was crazy. Bernie Sanders was crazy. They were kind of the craziest, and they're the ones known for being the craziest. And Bernie Sanders. Do you support this onesie? Yes or no? Yeah, he's got it. You'll see. It was pretty unbelievable. I was listening to it. I wasn't watching it. I didn't realize he had multimedia for that one. He actually had a display. Oh man, they're funny. But RFK I think he handled himself well. I think they wouldn't have him doing they say Mitch McConnell and that other rhino are going to vote against him. But I wouldn't think they'd put him through the hearings if they didn't think they had the votes to put him through. So, and if anybody goes against him, any Republicans, they're going to be in trouble, I think. So Bobby Kennedy, that's like him and Tulsi are left. They're the Democrats, former Democrat Tulsi, and they're going to get fought against the hardest. So we'll see what really matters to these people, these criminals, these lizard people. And then, I'll show you some stuff from the hearing. Trump is firing people. He's going to fire everybody who doesn't show up to work in person. I saw some post from some liberal who worked at one of these agencies, and they were crying. They're like, Donald Trump destroyed my life. Now I'm going to have to commute to work. And then they said that the anti-DEI stuff, they said DEI is in everything. That's what this one Reddit post said. The person was like, he wants to get rid of DEI, but everything is based on DEI. Now it's integrated into all of our programs. That's crazy. It's crazy that white people haven't gotten jobs either since the George Floyd thing. So anyway, Trump is firing people. He had somebody escorted out today who didn't leave. He's going to send illegal immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. That's kind of cool, I guess. I guess we did bad things at Guantanamo. Oh, the Fed had their meeting today. They did nothing to rates. And Bitcoin's up. Or crypto's up. Bitcoin's up, crypto's up. Bitcoin 1036 right now. So it's recovered a little bit since that AI thing. The AI thing, more news is coming out. They say the Chinese AI isn't very accurate at telling you what's in the news, but kind of nobody is. So not me says market crash when. What do you think? I've changed my thinking on it a lot. I used to think it was tomorrow every day. And I do laugh. I mean, there are several pundits who have been talking about a crash for at least 10 years. I mean, for really like 10 years. And here we have no crash. You want to save money, just invest in the S&P. It goes up. If it goes down, the Fed just bails everybody out. So I really don't know if there's going to be a market crash. I don't know. Saw somebody complaining about their Airbnb listing, saying nobody was booking, but I've seen that before too. Thought real estate was going to crash. It hasn't crashed. We have an economy built, it's a house of cards economy, but maybe they can just keep I don't know how to continue with that metaphor. They can keep replacing the cards. I don't know. They keep printing money so much that it's almost impossible for stuff to go down because the dollars are just worthless, or worth less and less. Not me says crash plus QE looks like growth. Yeah, I mean, if the money is getting less valuable all the time, then you got to have things that go up based on money, which is crazy. It keeps poor people poor when they can't invest. Anybody who can't afford to invest their money is fucked in this economy completely, because they add like 10%. Your money should go down value like 10% every year. So you have to be invested in something that goes up at least that much. Bitcoin, stocks. Otherwise, you're just always falling behind. We live in an economy where you have to fall behind. No, I question whether it's because people need to be in a life and death struggle or prefer to be. I don't know. Like people want to be so poor but I don't know if it's because people want to be poor. That's kind of describing a strange thing. But people do like to be in a life and death struggle. So they put us there. And then we can't think properly. So anyway, that's what's going on. Oh, and then there's just a bunch of like tons of Tucker just had somebody on, tons of alien disclosure stuff, tons of it on Twitter and stuff. People doing different interviews. Some guy saying he was part of a retrieval team. Do you believe him? Or do you believe the alien stuff coming out? Rogan just had somebody on. I didn't listen to it yet, but who was talking about alien retrieval and stuff. These guys are saying they can control the craft with their mind, these psionics. So I want to audition to be a psionic, but I can't summon UFOs yet. Working on it. I don't, come here, UFO, I say. Nothing happens every time. But apparently there are people who can do it. All right, guys. That's we're going to show you news. We'll take your comments and stuff. And we'll play the intro. All right, guys. Thanks. Welcome. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is. Joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Always the truth. That's the truth. The real news. Okay, so what should I have a couple of clips of Trump. And then I have clips about drones and aliens. Oh, I should have told you guys. Also, in addition to the aliens, people are very unhappy with the explanation from the White House about the drones. Many people, they say it's not satisfactory and not true. That they were like FAA authorized hobbyist drones or whatever. People are saying it's bullshit. So more to come on the drone issue. People are not satisfied with the government answer, which is from that new press secretary. Let's see. Okay, good. So I have some of Bobby's stuff. I'll start with that because that's how the day started. Do you want the whole introduction? I have 2 minutes. That'll probably be good enough. We don't want to play an 8-minute clip to start the show. Everybody wants to hear what I have to say. No, we want to hear from RFK Jr., even though he's painful to listen to for some people because of his anomaly, his physical anomaly, his voice anomaly. Spaldo says JFK files are supposed to be released. Yeah, I know. When are those coming out? That could change everything. I mean, there are many like black swan type events possible, especially with Donald Trump as president. He could declassify anything. I think he has the authority to. He could declassify stuff on UFOs too. Now we've been talking to aliens about how to win political campaigns. If we can psionically control them, then I assume they can psionically control us, the aliens or demons or whatever. All right, let me play you some of Robert Kennedy's opening statement about how sick we are.
But let me ask you this then, because you keep citing the Trump administration and you're just going to follow what they say. Is that what you're doing? You're just a rubber stamp for them in this position? So anybody, so it doesn't matter that you're before us. It could be anybody coming.
This isn't from his opening statement. I figured it was. His opening statement's too long, though. Let's see. See if I can find you a good clip of that. Oh, I have some other commentary today, like Doge is cutting things. We were going to spend $50 million on condoms for Palestine, apparently. Come on, friend. My wheel is spinning. You can't see it, but the rainbow-colored pinwheel is spinning on my screen, so I can't do anything. I was going to try to find you a good clip of the opening statement by RFK. Maha. Okay, now we can type in there. Let's see. There's one that's 8 minutes. There's something else. There's one that's 10 minutes. Okay, I'll play those. Some people say it's the greatest of all time. Here's one that's like 5 minutes, so that's okay. I'll play it. You guys want to hear it. It's news. It's history.
My journey into the issue of health began with my career as an environmental attorney, working with hunters and fishermen and mothers in the small town in the Hudson Valley and along the Hudson River. I learned very early on that human health and environmental injuries are intertwined. The same chemicals that kill fish make people sick also. Today, Americans' overall health is in grievous condition. Over 70% of adults and a third of children are overweight or obese.
70%.
Diabetes is 10 times more prevalent than it was during the 1960s. Cancer among young people is rising by 1 or 2% a year. Autoimmune diseases, neurodevelopmental disorders, Alzheimer's, asthma, ADHD, depression, addiction, and a host of other physical and mental health conditions are all on the rise, some of them exponentially. The United States has worse health than any other developed nation, yet we spend more on healthcare, at least double, and in some cases triple, as other countries. Last year, we spent $4.8 trillion, not counting the indirect costs of missed work. That's almost a fifth of GDP. It's tantamount to a 20% tax on the entire economy. No wonder America has trouble competing with countries that pay a third of what we do for health and have better outcomes and a healthier workforce. But I don't want to make this too much about money. It's the human tragedy that moves us to care. President Trump has promised to restore America's global strength and to restore the American dream, but he understands we can't be a strong nation when our people are so sick. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person has only one. Today, over half of our countrymen and women are chronically ill. When I met with President Trump last summer, I discovered that he is more than just concern for this tragic situation, but genuine care. President Trump is committed to restoring the American dream, and 77 million Americans delivered a mandate to him to do just that, due in part to the embrace and elevation of the Make America Healthy Again movement. This movement, led largely by Maha moms from every state, you can see many of them behind us today, and in the hallways and in the lobbies, is one of the most transcendent and powerful movements I've ever seen. I promise President Trump that if confirmed, I will do everything in my power to put the health of Americans back on track. And I've been greatly heartened to discover a deep level of care among members of this committee too, both Democrats and Republicans. I came away from our conversations confident that we can put aside our divisions for the sake of a healthier America. For a long time, the nation has been locked in a divisive healthcare debate about who pays. Well, when healthcare costs reach 20%, there are no good options, only bad ones. Shifting the burden around between government and corporations and insurers and providers and families is like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Our country will sink beneath a sea of desperation and debt if we don't change the course and ask, why are healthcare costs so high in the first place? The obvious answer is chronic disease. The CDC says 90% of healthcare spending goes toward managing chronic disease, which hits lower income Americans the hardest. The president's pledge is not to make some Americans healthy again, but to make all of our people healthy again. There is no single culprit in chronic disease. Much as I have criticized certain industries and agencies, President Trump and I understand that most of their scientists and experts genuinely care about American health. Therefore, we will bring together all stakeholders in pursuit of this unifying goal. Before I conclude, I want to make sure the committee is clear about a few things. News reports have claimed that I'm anti-vaccine or anti-industry. I am neither. I am pro-safety.
What? What just happened? Somebody started screaming. Why'd they cut that? Why'd they cut it there? I want to know what the person was screaming about. Anti-vaccine, I think he said, instead of anti-vax. During the whole thing, he kept saying, I am pro-vax. He kept saying that. I'm pro-vaccine. So that wasn't that great to hear, but I guess you just have to say shit when you're getting nominated to these positions. Okay, now I can play you some of the exchanges. Let's see. Elizabeth Warren. I have a few exchanges with her. Bernie. It's funny. They asked him if he was a conspiracy theorist. I'll play that too. Let me play that. Here's where he's asked if he is a conspiracy theorist. And he says how he was called one before, but they always came true.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection, when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I could go on for about a week.
Is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory, or are you in a position to submit for the record? I think it'd just be helpful for every one of these narratives for you to submit that maybe for the record. You said
every one of these narratives. He said COVID vaccines didn't stop prevention. Elizabeth, excuse me, I've been having my bubbly water. A lot of these Democrats get money from Big Pharma. I mean, a lot of everybody gets money from Big Pharma. But Warren got into this crazy thing where she was like, I'll play you that one. I'll play you the first one first. He's asked if he would take money from Big Pharma or take a Big Pharma job. And he's like, what are you talking about? Diligent escape. Will he get confirmed? I just have to assume yes, but I don't know. That lady Shanahan, who was his running mate and is rich, I guess, she put out a bunch of names of people she said she was going to target if they vote no, and included several Republicans. So I know 2 so far lined up against him, but he can have 3 against him. And the ladies in the liberal states might go for RFK. So right now he's got a couple of no votes, but I don't know. I don't think they would have put him in. Hegseth made it through when people said he might not. I don't know if they'd actually put him through the hearings if they didn't think they had the votes. Because I think people are intimidated by Trump. They should be. So this is Senator Warren asking if he would take money from Big Pharma.
Commit that when you leave this job, you will not accept compensation from a drug company, a medical device company, a hospital system, or a health insurer for at least 4 years, including as a lobbyist or a board member.
Can you just repeat the last part of the question? Can I commit?
You're not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this.
I don't think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
Let's keep commit that when you leave this job.
That was funny. People laughed at him. He had various smatterings of applause and stuff when he would say things because he had supporters there. So I don't think they would want to give me money. But then she asked him, I guess he works as a lawyer. He works as a lawyer. And he had a firm that he would get paid. People would sign up to sue over vaccines and stuff. And I guess he sued over the HPV vaccine. So she's saying, after he leaves office, will he promise not to make money from that? Which is kind of weird. Like, it's really protecting the drug companies. And she just went nuts. He was like, you're saying I shouldn't sue drug companies? You want me to commit not to sue drug companies? Here, I'll show you.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said.
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturers.
I'll comply.
Yeah, then
with
she goes on a
all-
rant about, she's like, oh, he'll be able to do studies that show the vaccines are bad and then use those studies against the vaccine companies. I was just like, well, they have to be convicted by a jury. You know, it's like they'd have to be guilty. Right. So she's like, yeah, you have to promise that for 4 years, you're not going to make money off of suing drug companies. And then she went crazy when he was like, you're asking me not to sue drug companies. She's like, no, I am not. So yeah, she was ridiculous today. And yeah, and then she came out after and was like, oh yeah, he might sue the drug companies out of business. Like, and then you can't get vaccines anymore. I'll play that clip.
His answers are he intends to continue to make money off his anti-vax position. Look, he says he won't go to work for drug companies because the American people have a right to know that the decisions made while he is Secretary of HHS are only for the good of the American people. And yet, he wants to keep a piece of the action on every one of these anti-vax lawsuits. And what that means potentially is, as Secretary of HHS, he can make those lawsuits a whole lot more profitable. In fact, he may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, and then nobody gets vaccine.
Are you worried that he's in the position to serve his own interest?
That is the problem. He has said he will protect his right to make money off the position of Secretary of HHS. That means that every decision he makes could be for the American people or could be just to benefit RFK Jr.
Do you think any of the points you're making are resonating with your Republican colleagues?
No, nobody's listening. Yeah. So that is pretty crazy. She's like, oh yeah, you could bankrupt the vaccine companies. She gets like many millions from Big Pharma. So all these people called him out for like making money off of it. He's a lawyer, and the when he makes money, the companies are found guilty by a jury, pretty much. And people are awarded some benefit. The vaccine thing. He did have to say, I'm pro-vaccine. He had to say that a bunch. They're like, you've said anti-vax things. The other thing he said is, he said was that Lyme disease was a escaped bioweapon, which I've learned today is probably true. That Lyme disease started near a lab that was studying biological weapons in Connecticut. So it seems likely that it escaped from a lab, just like COVID did. So learn that. They wanted to criticize him for that. That's one of his conspiracy theories. They wanted to talk to him about a measles outbreak in Samoa, I think, or Guam, or everybody used to give me. It's so funny. People are so scared of diseases that don't exist anymore. Like measles. Measles, like everybody used to get it. Like chickenpox. Now nobody gets chickenpox either. People are probably really scared of chickenpox. They're probably like, oh, people were dying every year from chickenpox before this vaccine. You guys got chickenpox, right? When did that vaccine come out? I wonder. I remember chickenpox. All right, here's the famous onesie display.
They are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Now you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market.
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
That was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Blackburn.
Thank you so much, Ms.
He had the big display and everything. No vax, no problem. Pretty funny. It's like, this is dangerous. People love vaccines. It is crazy. I wonder how they got all these shills to just love vaccines so much. We were better off health-wise in the past. And the vaccine schedule got crazy, more recently, and things have gotten really bad since then. 70% of adults are obese. That's crazy. I look around, I don't see 70%. Maybe you just get used to a lot of fat people when you're in America, at least. Well, I hope he gets in. I say he might be the most important. I mean, Tulsi is important too, but he's probably the most important for like what could really change. We spend way, way too much money on health care to not even be guaranteed it. So if he can bring down costs, they just charge it. I mean, they just suck our money out of us. That's all. They want us to be on the precipice of death at all times. So we need them. All right. Donald Trump made a few statements. He fired some people, like I said. He's promised to fire everybody who doesn't show up for work anymore. So I'll play that clip.
Because as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed, because as everyone knows,
he wants people to quit. He offered people 8-month severance to quit if they don't want to work in the government anymore. So that's pretty nice. Apparently it's the most he could have possibly offered without Congress being involved. So that was pretty nice. And then they gave out instructions for how to resign if you want to, and you just type an email from your .gov account, make the title resign, and hit send. That's what they said. Power Justin says you take 1 year severance. Yeah, I mean, get paid for 8 months for doing nothing. That's pretty nice. All right. Here he is at the same event talking about Guantanamo Bay, which people are freaking out over. Here he is saying that migrants are going to go to Guantanamo. Let's see.
An executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000 person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back. So we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately, right? And tough. That's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just signing an executive order to
30,000 beds for people that are too dangerous to even send back to their countries. So that's Trump on immigrants and Trump on people coming back to work. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about UAPs. I have to see. Okay, let's see. So let me get you up to speed on drones. And aliens as much as I can. Okay. So this is, what's her name? What's the press secretary's name? I got to learn it. Apparently the youngest press secretary ever, also female. So this is her talking about the UAPs. And then I have people saying that it's not good enough or it's not true.
You opened your hearing yesterday talking about drones in New Jersey. And you made a statement that left me wondering, because you said they were authorized by the FAA for research and various other reasons. What are the various other reasons for the FAA?
The various other reasons I pointed out as well in terms of what these drones were doing. They were recreational drones. They were hobbyists. They were private individuals that enjoy flying drones. And once there was curiosity about the drones, then other, folks that own drones, I guess, were inclined to fly their drones as well. So it led to an increase of the sightings that the people of New Jersey were seeing. But as President Trump told me to make it very clear at the podium yesterday, this was not the enemy. These were simply hobbyists and the FAA who were doing these drones for research.
So everyone can breathe a sigh of relief on that.
There you go. So that's the official story. And now I'm going to play you some people saying that the official story doesn't satisfy them. Hobbyist drones. Seemed like the drones were able to do things like loiter for a long time, which regular drones can't do. It seemed like they had capabilities that drones we know, like certainly hobbyist drones, don't have. At the time, people were saying they were doing things regular drones can't do, mostly just stay in the air forever, for a long time, hours. But let's see. This is Stephen Greer talking about it. He's I don't know about him, but let's see.
The White House telling us the truth? I think the White House is operating off of the truth that they've been given. I find Carolyn Levitt to be a woman of integrity and honor. And I think that the information that she's been given is inaccurate. I agree with Dr. Greer. I absolutely do not refute that there are extraterrestrials and that more will be coming out. However, what I will tell you is that the FAA can't produce the licenses, the Part 107 licenses for all of the drones that continue to fly over our skies this night. Some of them the size of RVs and cars. Wait a minute. The Chinese definitely have RV-sized in their CH-10 and their CH-7 series drones. So what we need to do is we need to dive into who's misinforming the president this early on in his administration. We need to route that out. We need to find out what's going on across this nation, because I'm going to tell you right now, Rob, it's just the tip of the iceberg, and it's part of something much bigger, and it's going to keep on, and it definitely involves earthly powers, not extraterrestrial ones. But out of respect, I will tell you, Dr. Greer is absolutely correct. We will learn more about our friends from other worlds. It's just that this world is the one that's over our sky.
And I don't laugh. I'm in on this story. Dr. Greer, John Ratcliffe.
All right, so there's one explanation. He says he's unhappy. That Trump is misinformed. Either that or Trump is actually informed and is telling his press secretary something that's not true on purpose. You know what? I'm feeling nauseous. So I think I have to quit. I I don't know why. I'm just feeling nauseous. So I have to quit the show just so I don't throw up on camera or something. So anyway, I'm okay. I'm not like super sick or anything, but for some reason I have something going on. So I'm going to cancel the show for health reasons. And then I'll show you guys more alien stuff tomorrow, but I'll be back. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And keep watching the skies. All right. For now, that's what it is.